What does being self-reliant really mean? Well, I think everybody has their own unique definition. To some, it means completely producing all of their needs and necessities 100%, never having to buy anything. And that is a lofty goal and definitely something to strive for if that's what you're wanting to do. But to me, we're definitely not quite to that point. We do produce a lot of stuff here, though, at the farmstead. I mean, a lot of produce that gets us through most of the year. I mean, onions, potatoes, squash, all that kind of stuff. Our own meat, milk, eggs, all of that. But to be 100% self-reliant in the classic definition, we definitely have a long ways to go. However, I think my definition of self-reliance is slightly different than some that you hear out there. Self-reliance to me is simply what it says, being able to rely on yourself. And by that, I mean being creative and thinking of creative solutions when you're faced with a problem. So you don't immediately just jump on Amazon and order something or run to town and buy whatever it is that you think that you need. You take a beat and you think about it and figure out how you can fix it using what you have. That is such that's so important to us here that it's like our mantra. And I'm not saying that we don't ever go buy anything. I mean, sure, yes, of course we do. But we really think about it first and try to decide if there's a way that we can fix it using what we have. Let me give you an example of exactly what I'm talking about here. So just the other night, my kids got home from school, which is always a busy time because they're excited about their day and they want to tell us about their day and they're getting ready for the next school day. And there's just a lot going on. And I'm usually making supper. I was making a casserole called Texas hash, really good if you've never had it. And as I was prepping my meal, I preheated the oven just like I always do. And I noticed that it was taking a little longer to preheat. Usually it's really, really fast. But I thought, oh, well, it is kind of an old oven, relatively speaking. So I didn't think too much of it until I finished prepping my meal and it still wasn't preheated. So I opened up the oven and I realized that it wasn't doing anything. It was kaput. Of course. Right when I need to get supper on the table. And I don't know about your kids, but my kids get hangry. So that's definitely not the time of day to mess with them or their food. So I needed a new solution and I needed it fast. Amazon or town were definitely not the answers here. Needless to say, I took a moment and I thought about it. What can I do in this situation? I didn't want to prepare a different meal. I already had one all ready to go. I considered the wood stove, but that's really for heating something up or frying. I didn't know how well it would bake this casserole through. Maybe it would have been fine, but I was thinking through my other options. And that's when I thought, hey, I have a barbecue out in a garage. Barbecue has a lid. Why couldn't I bake with the barbecue? I have a hand-forged trivet that my husband made me for using on our wood stove. So I grabbed that and I stuck it in the barbecue because I figured maybe the pan shouldn't be directly on the flames. I didn't want it to burn in the barbecue. And since I've never done this before, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just making the best of what I had with the knowledge that I have. So I put the trivet in, I preheated the barbecue. I needed to bake this casserole at 400 degrees. I got it to 400, and what I decided to do, I have 4 burners, and I left the 2 outside burners on high, and I turned the 2 middle burners down to low, put my casserole in, and I was able to regulate the temperature beautifully doing that. At least at 400 degrees, I had no problem. It stayed at 400 for the entire 30 minutes that cooked. Casserole came out great. We all loved it, and yay, problem solved. Not only did I have a casserole to cook, I also had bread raising on the counter when this happened. And that I was a little more concerned because you know how finicky bread can be. I was pretty worried about baking bread in a barbecue, but hey, if you ever need to, it works. Bread came out great. It didn't burn, tasted good. It didn't dry it out, nothing. You would have never known that I baked it in a barbecue instead of in the oven. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, give it a try. All this to say, maybe baking in a barbecue doesn't relate directly to self-reliance. But the point I'm trying to get across is sometimes the most important thing that you can have in your toolkit towards self-reliance, oh, Kitty, you scared me, is being creative and using your own brain, taking a minute when you're faced with a problem and thinking, how can I use what we have? And we apply this every single day on our farmstead. Now, does that mean that we never go to town or never order anything on Amazon? No, absolutely not. I mean, I actually got on Amazon that night and ordered the part for my stove. Now, that's actually a habit that I'm trying to break, but I digress. That's another topic for another day. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we're not perfect, but we're trying to improve every day. And by that, I mean we're trying to become a little more self-reliant every day, whether that means planting more things in our garden, learning new ways of preserving our harvest, learning how to make a new type of cheese, learning a new old skill. All of these things contribute toward your self-reliance, at least in my opinion anyway. I would love to hear what you guys are doing to become more self-reliant. Thank you for watching. Oh, and be sure to tune in next week because I'm going to have an exciting video about grafting a week-old bomb on a U that had a single. Is it going to work? Maybe, maybe not. You'll have to tune in to find out. All right, that's all for now. Thanks, guys.